Hello, and welcome to the Pulse of Jonesboro. I am your host, Jeremy Terrell, and I appreciate you tuning in. And today we're going to jump into an event that my wife and I went to a couple of weeks ago, and it was in Crittenden County. It's the Lincoln Day dinner that they hosted there. The food was great, the host was great, and it was all in all a great event. But the highlight was we got to listen to Attorney General Tim Griffin. And he spoke on what he has been focusing on since he took office in 23, and also said that it had not been really worked on prior to that, which was, kind of concerning to hear. But he started working as soon as he took office on sex trafficking. And he also recently has really dove into the organized retail crime that's going on in Arkansas. But let's talk a little bit about the sex trafficking first, because this is a huge problem. Tim told us that there's almost as many of these massage parlors, and this is where a lot of the sex trafficking is happening, as there are McDonald's in the state of Arkansas. That's crazy to me. That means one in every major city, or a couple in every major city, and one in your mid-towns, mid-sized cities. That's really, really concerning. And he also said these have been Chinese-owned businesses. And what is happening is that they'll run an ad in China, and it says, come to America for a working opportunity. And people take this, and they get shipped to a couple different places. One is Flushing, New York, and Monterey Park, California. And so these Chinese nationals go to these two areas. They still do not know what they're going to be doing for work. They have no idea. And then they get shipped all over the United States. And when they get there, then they end up being put to work. They work 13 hours a day, 7 days a week, and are forced to do sex acts and trafficking type things. And it's just a sad, sad story. But what was even more concerning is that he brought up Jonesboro, and they had just had a couple of major busts here. Some of you may have heard about the sex trafficking on Matthews and the Chinese massage parlor that was busted. And they actually found that Gary Liu was basically the ringleader of this sex trafficking that was going on here in Jonesboro. And in the middle of this raid, they actually found 23 Chinese victims. 23. That's really, really sad. And it's a great thing that they were, gotten and taken out of this. This is kind of a heartbreaking situation. I'm a dad of 5 girls, and I could only imagine something crazy like this happening. But these people came to America thinking that they were following a dream, and this is what they end up. And they get pressured because they tell them that you owe us money, or you owe us, we're getting you here, and this is how you're going to pay us. And they try to tell them that they'll eventually work off that payment. They can do whatever they want. But as of right now, I haven't heard any great stories of that actually happening. So, but we did hear the great story that this was busted here in Jonesboro, and 23 of them were freed from this problem. So, hats off to Tim Griffin and his organization. He worked with local police departments, and they did a wonderful thing. He also talked about organized retail crime. Now, I've talked about this for over a year now. Some of them act like it's not even happening, but there was a huge bust here in Jonesboro as well. And Tim highlighted that they arrested 16 individuals and also identified 5 more suspects that were in this organization here in Jonesboro that were doing this. And a lot of what they did is they would go to, big box stores, Walmart, Sam's, Target, Dillard's, whatever it may be, and they would steal crazy amount of items. And there was various ways that they did this. Some of them load up carts, walk out. They know where they could do that. You could do that at I'm not even going to say, but there's several that you can just load up and they're not going to do anything. They just watch you walk out. Other ways is they would steal a huge amount of gift cards and then they, program them, steal tons of money that way. And then they got really high tech and they create their own barcodes. So, these places that they're going, you can't return something from Walmart at Target because it's not their barcode. So they're pretty advanced as far as being able to figure out the barcode situation. And they put their own barcodes on whatever they're stealing and say that it was $19.99 when it was actually $2,000. And then they store this stuff in storage units and then turn around and sell them for huge profits. And, a huge bust was done here, and that's fantastic for us in our community that this has been taken off of our streets, basically. Another thing that's real concerning is the uptick of drug busts that are, I guess you want to say that it's a relief that there's a huge number of drug busts that have been going on within our community as well, within our county. And, that's a great thing that the state is focused on and getting rid of fentanyl and other dangerous drugs that are, plaguing our community. And there's been a couple of amazing federal busts here that consist of a large amount of pills and powder of fentanyl and other drugs. It's been fantastic to hear. It's been fantastic to read and listen to what's happening. And I think that just draws a kind of a weird situation because, back last year in the mayor's race, there was a lot of argument whether crime was going up or crime was going down. And basically, we all knew that it was going up, and we kept getting told that it's not. It's actually going down. And the truth is that there's just a lot that wasn't being reported. Nobody was reporting these organized retail crime thefts that were happening. We just had, a bust yesterday or the day before from a Blytheville man that came in and was stealing a ton of stuff. And he's been arrested now, and that's happening quite a bit. And I believe the chief of police even said that some certain percentage, a larger percentage of the people that are stealing stuff in Jonesboro are from out of town. And that may or may not be true, but I think these 16 individuals that were doing large amounts of retail crime were living here, at least. I don't know if they were from here. I didn't see names, so who knows if they were from here or not. But good work is going on. I wanted to kind of tip my hat to them and to Tim Griffin's organization. He is actually out there doing a great job and making sure that we are being safe and that our communities aren't being plagued by crazy stuff like sex trafficking, stuff within our communities, and that does keep us safer. And hats go off to him. I know that he's coming up here pretty soon with a new election, and if he keeps up this kind of work, I think it should be a shoe-in for him. Some of the other things that I want to talk a little bit about, and this will be a short video this week, but Jonesboro is in this great, wonderful crossroads. It's a great opportunity that we currently are in. And the reason why I say that is because we have decisions coming up here really soon. We got a ton of judges that are running for different circuits throughout Craighead, and we have some other opportunities to really make a difference in some elections. The way that they restructured the elections as far as the state goes, really affected some local positions. And so we got a ton of city council coming up next year in 2026. We have a ton of school board that are coming up in 2026. And I just encourage people to get out there and learn more about maybe what they can do within our community. We have a huge amount of JPs and other things happening within Craighead County. And so really, if you want to know, reach out to me on Facebook, or if you're interested in getting involved in some of those things, and you think that you've got a calling to that, and maybe God's poking you or something, reach out to us on Facebook or other ways, and we will help move you in the right direction. We really need people that are really driven by what's right for our communities and making a difference, a positive difference. And we don't need a lot of rubber stampers. We've had plenty of those within those areas that I said, and we need people that will ask questions and really push the other leaders to really think and represent you, the people, better than what we've been seeing recently. We have an opportunity to really push our schools and our town and our county in a more positive direction, where everybody's needs are being met, and that we are raising the level of expectations. Right now, the expectations are really low, I believe, and if they're being raised, it's kind of being raised by the state, not so much locally. And so I believe that this 2026 is a huge year for Jonesboro and Craighead County. So look forward to that. We're going to start talking a little bit more about that. And we do have some great guests coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We'll be doing some interviews of those that are running. And we also have some great stuff coming pretty soon. And I told you that, guys, that it'll be, the Pulse of Arkansas, and that's going to happen as well. So look forward to that here in the next, within the next month, probably. So, guys, have a great, wonderful week. I truly appreciate you guys tuning in. I want to do a quick shout out to all those that watched my video on Facebook and Instagram about the E.B. Watson Center. We had something like 7,500 views about that, and hopefully the city is addressing that in a manner that meets the citizens' desires there. We really need to make sure that they're doing the right thing there. And last, I want to give a heartfelt thoughts and prayers to those that were affected in the Minneapolis school shooting that happened. Our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to the victims of those that were affected in that. And it's a great tragedy, and our kids deserve to live in an area where this kind of craziness doesn't happen, and that we call spades a spades and make sure that we're identifying areas that we can really improve the safety of our kids and give them the ability to, number one, if they want to go to school and worship God at the same time, that should be done in a manner that's safe and effective. It's just a tragedy. It's evil versus good. And so hearts, prayers, and thoughts go out to those families. So, guys, have a great and wonderful week. We will talk to you guys later, and like, share, listen, and let's change our communities for the better. Have a great week.